Hey everybody, doing a quick talk here out in the barn today because what I wanted to do is give a brief discussion here on a shop that I went to in Florida. And the lesson that I want you to take away from this one is the importance of doing your own research. You can sit here and listen to people babble online as much as you want and watch YouTube videos and say, oh, that sounds like a great place, I should go there. But there's a lot of importance that comes from your own research. And this particular shop is a great lesson in that for me. And I hope you take this lesson away too. Well, I'd say I don't spend a lot of time on social media. In fact, I spend almost no time on social media. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't even know how to create a Facebook account. Nor do I have any desire to make a Facebook account. Take that, Facebook. I don't have a Google Plus. Is that a thing, a Google Plus account? I don't know. I've heard about it in my business. I have an Instagram account, but I spend almost no time on it. And I don't spend any time watching other people's Instagram accounts. And quite frankly put, I spend very little time watching YouTube. I make videos and put them on YouTube, but I don't spend any time watching them. I do every once in a while, though, watch reviews of other people where they've gone into shops when I'm heading into an area to say, okay, well, what are these things worth and should I go there? Well, I watched two vloggers on this one. Two separate vloggers, totally different occasions. The one said, what was the phrase they used? This phrase they used was pretty similar to this. No shopping trip to Orlando is complete without a stop at the second one, I just watched him the other day. And I was surprised that he made this comment, because I'd already been to and he says, my favorite shop to stop at when I'm in Orlando is now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with but what I am saying here is sometimes these blanket statements of support may be a little inapplicable to any particular one user's needs. Let's put it that way. So here's where I went. I was in Orlando. I was in Orlando for almost a month. I was looking at all sorts of shops while I was down there. And there are a couple of shops that are my staples that I go to, and I'll make separate videos on those. And every once in a while, I'm saying to myself, let's go to a new one when I get the opportunity. And I was at, Wonderworks, which is on our International Drive. And I said to myself, okay, well, I've got time. It's the middle of the day. Maybe I should stop by one on the way out just because I'm in the neighborhood. So I do my Google search, and I'm like, okay, what do we got? And here again, being an old man. Let's ask the Google comic shops near me, which I did. One came up with comics. So, oh, hey. I know comics. I listened to somebody talk about comics and how great it was. Maybe I should go there. And the other one is one of the staples that I always go to, which is up by Mall of the Millennium. Well, of the two, I said, well, oftentimes when you're out with other people, it's best to go with what you know. I went to the shop that I normally go to, and I'll make a video about that later. I didn't go to my comics. And at the time I said, well, if that's the one I go to this trip, that's great. And I had a great time at that shop. Again, I'll make a video about that later. And I said, after the fact, well, I'm glad I went to this shop. Too bad if I miss it on for this trip. I'll catch it on a different trip. Well, of course, I'm there for another couple weeks. So I'm down at the Florida Mall. I'm doing my thing. What was I shopping for? I don't remember what I was shopping for. Actually, I wasn't shopping for anything. I was the ride for everybody else who was shopping for something. Ugh, that's another story. Anyway, so while I'm there, I say to myself, oh, comic shop near me. This is me again asking to Google. Because again, I'm late in the day. I've got time on my hands. I'm just walking around a mall. I'm not shopping for anything. Ticket. It's right across the street. Well, right across the street would say to me, hey, this makes this trip worthwhile. So I did. I went over to parked the truck, went in, had the family in tow. I was there, I think, about an hour before they were closing. I think they closed a little early that day. That's the feeling I have. And I gotta tell you, my experience in this shop was rather unique. I'll tell you, I spent some time walking around the shop. It's a smaller shop. It's not a big one. But again, not all shops are great if they're giant. Sometimes a smaller shop is even better than a giant shop. So don't take that as a criticism by any means. And in fact, I don't have much criticism here. I walked around the shop in a couple seconds. And the shop is majority all toys. Pop figures, Marvel Legends. That's another series of toys that people are buying. And tons of figurines. If you're out there buying figurines, this is the shop for you. This is the fashizzle. It's got stuff like you wouldn't believe. And they're massive things. I was impressed. I was like, damn, look at these things. Now, I don't buy anything, but I was like, damn. Now, the kids were having a great time walking around looking at toys, so it gave me time to go and look for comics. I'm in a comic shop, right? Where are the comics? Well, I have a couple long boxes of comics sitting in the middle of the shop, and I didn't count them. Were I to estimate them today, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 boxes sitting in the middle of the store. And then, of course, they have the new comics. Now, I might not be some sort of a comics genius. Lord knows I'm not. If I was, I'd be a millionaire by now. That's quite funny, actually, now that I think about it. Lord knows things have gone up to $1 million in the time I've been collecting comics, and I clearly did not buy the right books. Anyways, But to me, this seems like it's a nice local shop, but it's definitely not a destination shop. So I said to myself, all right, you know what, I'm here. This is great. I'm going to start thumbing through the comics. So if I was a local guy and I was just picking up new comics, this shop would have been perfect for me. But I did see some comics that were up on the wall. I looked at the wall comics. They seemed completely fine. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not really shopping for wall comics. I only look for certain things. And then I look behind me, and there's a case. This is, by the way, the action of me turning to look at the case, which is in glass, in case you're wondering what this hand action is. So I look at the case, and in the case I see there's a couple of comics in there. First appearance of Deadpool sitting in there. It's a pretty good comic. And then I turn to the side, and one of the things that I do buy, and that I buy fairly frequently whenever I see them, are the old Charlton comics. I like the old Blue Beetle and Captain Atom and The Question. I thought that was a really cool one. They had some good Western stuff too, and some good romance comics. But I'm constantly looking for those, and since I look for them, I know them. And what do I see? I was like, whoa, look at this. It's the first appearance. And it was clearly billed as the first appearance of, and I'm not going to say the character's name. And there it was. It's over $100. It's in condition from what I can see. But I'm like, okay, over $100 for that character's first appearance. That might be reasonable. So I take a second glance at it, because, you know, your eyes pan past it once. And you come back to it, like, whoa, 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 pump brakes there. And you look, and you're like, oh. And this is where, you know, I suddenly antenna up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Up in the corner, I don't see the Charlton Comics sign. I see the circular emblem of Modern Comics. Now, I guess some people would know this, some people wouldn't know this. I would hope most people would know this. For anybody who didn't know this, take this lesson to heart. In the early 1980s, Charlton Comics, I guess, was going through troubled times. There's Wikipedia articles on this. You can read it on your own. And they decided to reprint a bunch of their 70s era Charlton Comics under this modern emblem. These are not the original comics. These are reprints of the original comics. They're not them. If you ever see one that's got a circle with an M in it, up in the corner, where they would normally have the Charlton Comics icon, that's not the original. That's a reprint. And it's 10 years newer than the original, at a minimum. Yeah, let's go with that as a good rule of thumb. 10 years newer. But this is under the glass, being billed as the first appearance of this character. Now, as a young collector, I can tell you, I personally was burned by people misrepresenting what they had up on the wall. Now, it's a buyer beware market, I get that. You need to know what you're buying when you're out there. This is a very expensive market to be making mistakes in. Because a lot of people, and there are a lot out there, are completely unscrupulous with the crap they sell you. Now, I'm not saying that's what was happening here. I don't know what was happening here. But that was enough for me to immediately put my antenna up and say, whoa, I'm done. If I can't trust this, everything in here is now to the point where I'm not even going to ask the question. I walked away from it. I walked away from that new cabinet. Rightly or wrongly, you know what, that $100, somebody might pay that $100. And maybe $100 for that reprint, if it was in stellar condition, would be completely warranted. But to me, my thought process was, that does not make sense. I'm walking. So at that point in time, I was like, okay, I'm pretty much done here. That's all it takes for me to get a taste in my mouth. I'm like, okay, local shop, that'd be great for new comics. I don't buy new comics. And this over here on this wall sticks out like a sore thumb to me, and I'm now to the point where I don't really want to look at any of the rest of the stuff that's on the wall in greater detail, because I don't know if I trust it. So let's get the kids and get the heck out of here. Well, this is where the saving grace came in. This honestly, and to me, that's what took this shop from a, whoa, I would advise anybody to steer clear of this, to a shop of, okay, maybe this is worth going to. The kids weren't ready to go yet, so I'm like, all right, whatever. So I thumb through the boxes that are in the middle while I'm waiting for them, because they're looking through all the toys. There's tons and tons of toys. For a toy collector, this place is golden. I can understand why these people on YouTube said, yes, I have to go here. As a comic collector with a store that's got the word blank comics in it, ugh, I would have expected more, but whatever. And I found a book, and don't ask me how, I don't know, karma, I don't know. I found a book that I've been looking for 20 years. I've seen it nowhere. It's right here, actually. You're gonna look at this and say, wait, what is that? Well, Superman, Man of Steel, number 18. Like, this is what, 92? 92. So I've been looking for this effectively since 1992. You're gonna look at this and say, it's just a crappy Superman comic. Like, what's the big idea here, Tennessee Fats? Well, I'll tell you you see, it's right over here. There's a number 2 there. Can you see the number 2? There's a number 2. See the number 2? That number 2 means is that this is the second printing of this comic. Just like the modern reprint was a reprint, this is a reprint. But this reprint is one that I knew was a reprint. I've been looking for the second, third, fourth, and fifth reprints of this comic since it came out. That's a long time. I've never seen it. And here I am thumbing through, and I find it. Well, I don't waste time. I don't think about it. I go over and I pay for it. And I GTFO. So, didn't spend any time talking to the clerk. There's only one guy working there, which is fine. It's all you need for a shop that size. Didn't spend any time looking through any of the rest of the stuff. I just said, okay, you know what? This just made this shop for me. So, good experience at the end, but really questionable experience up front there. So, my takeaway. Would I say, hey, if you're in the Orlando area, make sure you make a trip to Fort Comics? Unless you're looking for new stuff that's off the shelf, which you can really get anywhere, no. If you're in the immediate area, like I was, right across the street at Florida Mall, by all means, go across the street and get it. But that one thing under the glass, and I hope somebody in there, I'm hoping this was an error, and I hope one of their clerks is going to look at this thing and go, whoa, 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 that, no, get that out of there. That's a reprint. I am hoping somebody will notice that and get that out of there, because in my mind, no. That should not be sitting there. Presents it as the first appearance of blank with that sort of price on it. That's a boo-boo. You know, I've just gone through all that rant, and it occurs to me that I never really gave you guys an actual in-detail look at this book and what I actually paid for it. Now, again, bear in mind everything I've said about this place already. What do I think of this book? Well, it's not in stellar condition. It's got a ding there from impact. It's got another ding down here from impact. That corner is pretty clean. Run my finger up. You can already feel a tick in the spine right there. I don't even need to look at it. I can just feel it. There's another one right there. Yeah, is this a, you know, oh, it's a 9.2 or a 9.8 candidate and I should get it graded and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. Is it even worth the $15 that I paid for it? And this, oh boy, do I even have a rant about value. I could tell you what I think about comic values and what's posted as opposed to what you paid for things, but that's a long discussion. Is this worth $15? I'll tell you what this is worth. This is worth $15 to me. I've been looking for it since 1992. I'll pay the premium just to buy the book. Is it going to be worth $15 to anybody else? Probably not. Nobody else is going to be looking for this thing. I think I'm one of the few collectors. Actually, that's not true. I know of one other guy that actually goes out and buys all Death of Superman stuff too. Okay, so I'm one of two that I know that goes and does this. But, whatever. Am I glad I got this book? Holy crap, am I glad I got this book. So does that make this whole thing sort of like a par for me? Yeah, it does. Would I go and stop by this shop again? Well, I've already told you. If I'm in the neighborhood and I'm looking for something new, sure. But looking for older stuff? No. No, I wouldn't.